All right, so there's really nobody better than Tobi to talk about e-commerce payments. Shopify is, an 800-pound gorilla in this space. I'd say probably everybody in this room has probably bought something on Shopify, even if you don't know that you did it, because you're often interacting with a store that is owned by that individual person, but Shopify is powering it underneath. And stablecoins are also having a moment. I think there was about $30 trillion of stablecoin volume last year.
Yeah.
Circle just had a massive IPO, and so Tobi, why don't you just tell us your perspective on what this means for commerce right now?
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me and sharing this moment. It's like just an incredible confluence of pieces of infrastructure, vibes, regulatory changes, all coming together to conspire that this is the moment I think that a lot of the builders have been waiting for to just put all these wonderful things together. A lot of this conference, a lot of what you are announcing, a lot of what you guys and everyone in the room is working on is enablement of these completely new things that haven't been possible. So in a way, I'm here to just balance things out a little bit because I want to talk about commerce, which is absolutely possible already and actually rather boring. But I think can play a really, really outsized role in, or at least a significant push of value for the people who are holding USDC and stablecoins, because at the end of the day, a currency is held by people if they think it's of value to them to hold this currency, and there's a significant amount of fantastic products out in the world in e-commerce behind online stores and Shopify stores and these kind of things that people like purchasing. So.
Yeah, great. Well, okay, so maybe you can help us explain a little bit about why it's so hard to get e-commerce payments specifically working. Because peer-to-peer payments have been working for a long time in crypto, but e-commerce is a different ballgame, and you understand this really well. So maybe you can talk about how we started to make this possible.
Yeah, so it's funny because what crypto solves so wonderfully, effortlessly these days is that you can send money to obviously anyone on planet Earth in sub-seconds, and thanks to recent developments also with very, very low fees. That seems like that would be the absolute core unlock for commerce, but it really, there's pieces missing. So e-commerce really lives in a world of particular primitives. A purchase is not actually just a clearing of money. There's actually multiple states that a transaction goes through. You might have heard about authorize and capture, which are these primitives that credit card payments tend to implement. What really happens when you hit pay now in a commerce checkout is that you're coming to an agreement that is still yet to be brokered. The final amount of the price is actually not known at this point, because what actually happens is that inventory is allocated and reserved for you, after which then you'd go talk to all these different backends, like ERP systems. You're going to the shipping companies. You figure out what the shipping costs might be, the taxation, now tariffs. Sometimes the discounts interact with these things, and then you have to recalculate everything right after you figure out that a new discount applies, and so on and so on and so on. So there's a lot of things happening. So this was just made this, just being able to send money around, especially with zero recourse, just not really tractable for this space in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so credit cards kind of have these core verbs underlying them, like you authorize the charge, you only capture it later once you've reserved the inventory. There's void and refund, and so we managed to get all this working together, which we'll talk about in a minute. But for right now, let's roll a demo video and show it to people. Awesome.
Yeah, so what's so fun here is Brian and I have been having probably annual calls for a very, very, very long time to ask, hey, is it commerce time in crypto? And
yeah,
it was almost the answer was almost always just about, maybe, soon. And so it's awesome. We're here. This is it's all coming together now, which is really, really awesome.
Yeah, and then it's kind of cool like that this finally happened. I mean, what were the key pieces that finally came? Because you and I, about once a year, we would get together and be like, God damn it, why aren't the crypto payments working and e-commerce yet?
Yeah.
This is complicated and that. What made it finally happen now, do you think?
Yeah, so again, a bunch of things like, I mean, stablecoins are obviously key here. I know we say the term a lot, but like, it's very, very bad for e-commerce conversion if you happen to end up with huge regrets for having purchased an item with Bitcoin and then Bitcoin appreciated in the meantime, right? Like that's obviously bad for conversion rates.
Yeah.
And then the fees were very high, and like we also at the moment right now, like Circle had its IPO. You have been a public company for a while. That these systems, like and the stable coins are backed by 2 public companies who are both audited, and these things are just usually trust creating. So all of these things conspire, and what we are excited about here is that today, I think we will go in early access. So we are going to make it so that buyers coming to Shopify stores will see a USDC on-base payment option, and they'll be able to use it in the same way as anything else. This is something that's going to be in Shopify Payments and in Shop Pay. This is starting in early access now, and we are intending to roll this out over the course of a year, default on across the system, because we figured out how to make it so that it's seamless.
Yeah. Yeah, so having a trusted stablecoin with USDC was a key piece. Having more scalable blockchains with Base was a key piece. And then there was a third piece which we had to work on together, and this is where our teams had to come together and actually co-create a smart contract on chain that replicated that functionality. I mean, people have always talked about in crypto that it's programmable money.
Yeah.
And okay, well, we actually had to sit down and try to write this smart contract. So maybe you can give people a little more detail on what this is.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to Jesse and the Coinbase team. We, like Shopify again. We are very, very proud of working. In fact, we are super excited to work on really boring things. Like we are reasonably into commerce and enabling entrepreneurship and these kind of things. We know like more than is probably sane to admit about these topics, so that everyone else doesn't have to, right? Like it's our entire point is to, Shopify loves, Shopify's mission is to cause more entrepreneurship in the world, more opportunity, more, in our own philosophical framework, we are extremely aligned with everything that crypto stands for. We work together with like a Shopify and Coinbase Tiger team work together to
and Stripe too. I mean, we should give our friends at Stripe a big shout out. They played a key role in helping this come together as well. But sorry,
yeah. And so what we did is this is a smart contract that models this sort of complex state machine of taking the escrow money and then releasing it to the merchant if the transaction finally happens. This is an open source smart contract, which we are publishing, I think, also today.
Yeah, I think it's now live.
Yeah.
If people, for developers watching this, if they want to go to the Base GitHub repository, they can see the commerce payment protocol. It's open source. You can submit pull requests. We're hoping that more and more companies adopt this open standard.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's based on EIP 3009 right now, which is solid and like great foundation, works with all wallets, which was one of the conditions. Yeah, here we are. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's making payments more efficient, and I think the plan here is actually there's going to be a 1% cashback reward for any customer paying with USDC. And so the economics of how we can incentivize this start to get really interesting as well later this year. Great, well, I think this is an amazing accomplishment from both our teams. We want to thank them who worked very hard on getting this live. And it sounds complicated, but I think the big takeaway from my point of view is that for the first time, this is a large-scale e-commerce platform adopting crypto payments. And it just shows that crypto is updating the financial system. We can make things more efficient, and that's good for merchants, it's good for customers, it's good for the world. So we really appreciate the partnership with Shopify and for you coming out today. So Tobi, let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you.